My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Well, awesome. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Arin Lindauer, and I own Transformation Fitness and Wellness with my husband, and we actually do online coaching for fitness, for nutrition, all things health, wellness related. And we actually have owned a gym, an in-person training facility for the last 17 years. And we recently, it actually is going to be 1 calendar year, which I cannot believe this, but we actually sold that last July to go 100% online and supporting all of our clients in the capacity across the whole United States, which has been, awesome. It's been really, really cool. So, but just to give you guys a little background on myself, I have a degree in exercise science. I am a nerd for all things health, wellness. I practice what I preach. Like, this is my jam. And I love educating women, and I love empowering women, and I love helping women know what is actually possible with their body. And I was sharing this just a few minutes before we all jumped on here. I was actually very against the GLP-1 when it really started becoming more mainstream. And here's why. The reason why I was actually a little against it, actually, I can't even say I was a little, I was like super against it. I didn't want it to be another quick fix. I didn't want it to be another, diet or something that we would just do for a little bit, kind of see some results and then gain it all back, right? And also, I was very nervous about some of the intestinal problems that were actually coming with some of the class of drugs. And so, long story short, it took me down a very long road of really understanding this. I actually have a concierge functional medicine doctor that we have actually partnered with. We personally do all of our health and wellness through this doctor, and she hands down educated me tenfold. And it has been something that I'm so thankful to have her as a resource. But as she and I were talking, I was just talking with her yesterday. This is a tool. It is a really, really good tool, and it is absolutely changing lives. It's changing women's lives. And that's why I wanted to better understand myself. And I've gone down extensive paths to understanding what it actually is doing in your body. And that's why I wanted to bring this content to you here today, because the more knowledge you have, the more power you have, the more we can take control of our health, how we feel on a daily basis, the better. So really excited to have everyone here on this call. It is being recorded, so I will absolutely send out a recording. If you have a loved one, a friend, family member that could benefit from this, I am more than happy to share this with others, especially when it comes to other women. So, all right, let's get jamming here. So, first and foremost, what to expect is I'm just excited to help. I'm excited to help and really empower you. So you're in the right place. If you're using something like Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, if you're using the Zepbound, or even if you're just considering a GLP-1, I want to not sway you towards it. I just want to help you have more information so that you can use that to your advantage. It's not for everyone, but it can be helpful for a lot of people. So this call is going to be all about you. It's going to be about your strength. It's going to be about your body. It's going to be about your hormones and how you can use this powerful tool without everything that you've worked so hard for. So what you're going to walk away from today is I want you to understand how to protect your metabolism while using a GLP-1, why building and keeping muscle is just non-negotiable, how to support your hormone health as you lose weight, the top 3 mistakes to avoid that sabotage results. And then also, I want to offer an opportunity to do a deep dive with me on a private call and see what you're potentially missing. So I also want to know where you're stuck, what you're struggling with. So we're going to dig right in. Sound good? Awesome. Cool. All right. So the GLP-1 effect. So first and foremost, we do need to talk about the good and the risk. So GLP medicines are changing the game for weight loss, but they're not without the risk, right? But yes, they're helpful with the appetite suppression. You're absolutely going to experience the food noise. The food chatter is absolutely going to go away. And these have been such life-giving and life-helping. They actually even are studying it in just folks with drug abuse or alcohol abuse. And the drug is actually helping with that as well, which I thought was pretty profound. But what no one is speaking enough about is that you can lose weight, but a majority of that can be your lean tissue. And so that's why I really want to come here and share this with you, because I want you to be empowered and I want you to know what you can actually do. So what that actually means is when you lose lean tissue, this means your metabolism is going to slow down. Your hormones, especially estrogen, testosterone, your thyroid, can get thrown out of balance. And when you come off the meds, you're more likely to regain the weight as fat and not muscle. Okay. So these are the things that we really need to dig into. And this is why we have to approach things differently, because you guys are strong women and you're smart women. That's why you're taking the time on a Tuesday night to be on this. So why muscle mass matters for women 40 plus, here's the truth. Muscle is your medicine. And this isn't to make you Shira, okay? So I do want to preface, like, we do not need to be like big, bulky, clothes don't fit, that kind of thing, but we do need to have an amount of lean tissue on our body. And so after 35, we are naturally losing lean tissue. So every decade that goes by, you are losing more and more lean tissue if we don't do something about it. Here's another big asterisk. So I have given out a muscle toning guide to now over, get this, 700 women. So I am so thankful that I've been able to have this impact. And I've had so many women come back and say, thank you so much. This was so helpful. But here's the thing that I have had conversations in the DMs about is, Arin, I've lost all this lean tissue. Arin, I'm so saggy. Arin, I don't even recognize myself. And here's what I want to empower every woman is you can put lean tissue back on. Don't let anyone scare you that you've lost it forever. That's not even physiologically true. Okay, so you can put lean tissue back on, and we're going to talk a little bit deeper about that, but I want to just add that quick asterisk in there, because just because you've lost lean tissue and maybe a fair amount does not mean you can't put it back on. You can build lean tissue at any stage of the game. I have trained women well into their 70s, touching 80 and deadlifting 65 pounds, which was so cool. So you can do this. So the truth is your muscle is your medicine, and what it influences is your metabolism. It's going to affect your insulin sensitivity, your estrogen metabolism, your bone density, and your thyroid function. The really cool thing about the GLP-1s and what we're seeing is the insulin response that it's having. There's nothing else that has done this type of response. Also, the GLP-1 does produce fat oxidation, so burning of the fat. Again, we have not had anything. And once I better understood this and understood what it was actually doing in the body, I was like, there's nothing else out there like this that can do this. So again, we think about having more muscle. What that's going to do is that's going to help you age better. You're going to have less belly fat, which is a very common thing for women. You're going to have more strength just to do your activities of daily living. So think about just carrying the groceries in. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I like one trip. So makes it a lot easier. But this helps you live a fuller life. You get to age well. You get to be there for grandkids. You get to be active with your kiddos right now. And the thing that I really want to hit home is you don't have to be a bodybuilder, but we need to be intentional about putting the right amount of lean tissue on your body. So the thing we want to look at next is really your hormones and weight loss. And this is some of the stuff that I just feel like nobody is sharing, is your hormones are the silent drivers of your results. GLP-1s do not fix hormones, okay? So they do not fix, or I should phrase that differently. GLP-1s don't fix cortisol. So this is your stress. And stress can sabotage your fat loss and increase cravings. It doesn't fix your estrogen and progesterone. So these will drop with age and affect your mood. It absolutely affects your sleep, and it does affect your metabolism. Now, it can and can't fix your insulin, but again, poor muscle equals poor insulin sensitivity, then this leads to more stubborn belly fat. So there's kind of a trickle effect when it goes to this. The other thing that it doesn't fix is thyroid. So if we're under eating, this one especially can tank our thyroid. So this is where it's going to lead to more fatigue, really slow weight loss. And this is why it's really important to constantly have our labs done, ideally every 3 months is really recommended, and making sure you're getting all of your biomarkers done. Most doctors will order 30 labs, maybe 60, but did you know that you could have up to 125 different biomarkers? Now, you may say, well, why wouldn't my doctor order that? Well, most doctors won't because they don't know what to do with the lab, with the result. So that's where it does help to have someone who is more functional, more osteopathic, just more in tune with all the things and why we would want to have that depth of knowledge, because the more knowledge we have, the more power we have. So we need to think about lifting weights, eating strategically, and truly thinking about this as a long-term versus a short-term fix. And so where we want to go next is there is a shift in your identity. And this is where I want to talk about, this is truly where I see women change. So, okay, we have the GLP-1, we're being empowered, we're losing weight when before maybe we weren't losing weight or it was just a really slow struggle. But here's the secret sauce, and this is what actually keeps results for life, is we have to change your identity. You have to see yourself as someone that is fit, is strong. Now, here's the thing, you may not feel that way right now. So if you see yourself as someone who always struggles, always starts and stops, always self-sabotages, you're going to keep that story. It's going to be a loop. It's going to be a pattern. But when you start to see yourself as strong, capable, confident, a woman who lifts weights, who eats to fuel her body and takes control of her health, that's when things start to line up. Your actions align with your beliefs. So muscle building is more than physical. It's emotional. It's mental. This is really who you become. The reason I'm pausing so much on this is because so many women glass this over. Again, back to my stories in the DMs, is I have women share with me, I've lost 25 pounds. I went off the GLP-1. I gained back 20. I'm back on the GLP-1. And it's the cycle. The cycle keeps repeating. And, thankfully for some of those women, okay, cool, they can go back on it, but some women can't. Like, this is spending a lot of money every single month, and we got one shot. Well, not one shot, but I didn't mean for that to be a joke there. But what we want to do, though, is we want to make the shift with you for life. There's a woman inside of you that wants this weight loss. There's a reason you're doing the things that you're doing. But there has to be a shift in your identity and how you believe yourself around food. For so many of us, we have programs that run so deep. And, we were raised the best we could be raised. Everybody did the best they could with the resources they had. But even myself, I grew up in a clean the plate club. Like, if we're not cleaning the plate, like, you were sitting at the table until it was done, right? And so some of that stuff is very conditioned. So you want to really take note of all the different behaviors and emotions that you have around food. Do you have rituals? Do you have things that you always do? If every time you're sad, you go and get ice cream, guess what? That is a program. And these are the things that we really need to dig a little bit deeper on. This is something that I do very powerfully with work in coaching and supporting women, is removing these pieces because they are part of our identity. How many women cook? And when we cook, we want everyone to eat it, right? And if someone takes a second helping, it makes us feel good. That's a program. And how many of us push food? Probably not us, because we're all here on this call and we're aware and we have goals and things that we want. But think about this next time you're in a group setting or at a family dinner or just anything where you're in a group of people, in particular women. And how many times does someone say, here, don't you want it? Come on, don't you want another one? And if you're that person, I want you to take note of that, because that's pushing food. And again, we do it in love. Like, it's a love language. Don't get me wrong. I love when everybody consumes the food that I make, but we do want to start thinking about that, because this is stuff that you're going to have to navigate. We're going to have to navigate saying no and being okay with it. We're going to have to navigate, someone offering us something and we're like, dang it, that is not on my plan right now. Doesn't mean we can't have all things in moderation, but there does need to be a shift. So now I want to take you guys into the top 3 mistakes that women do make when they're on a GLP-1. I mean, the number one, I'm sure, is super obvious, but not lifting. So this, if I could just scream this from the mountaintops, we have to resistance train. A lot of women will say they're doing cardio or they're walking, which is great. I definitely want you to walk, but cardio will actually help burn some of the muscle if we're doing too much of it. And we truly want to think about resistance training 3 to 4 times per week. Even just 2 days a week, you will have muscle adaptation. 1 day a week is not. It will not do anything. That is 100% of maintenance. So you want to look at this, that this is going to be multiple days per week. And for a lot of women, they're not sure how to put this all together. The second mistake is not eating enough protein. Now, I'm sure a lot of you on this call are like, man, that's all I've been hearing. Lift weights, eat protein. Cool. Well, okay, how much, right? And so we want to eventually work yourself up to matching your ideal body weight in grams of protein. Now, if you're looking at that number going, holy moly, I don't even come anywhere close, I'm going to tell you your first goal is to get yourself to 100 grams of protein. If you're eating 100 grams of protein, we're doing a good job. And then slowly work yourself up. If all of a sudden you were barely eating 50 grams and now we're eating, 100, 150, like, You're going to feel that. So take it easy on that. But protein is just, it's not optional. It has to be a part of every single meal because this is what the muscle actually needs for production, for hormone production, and also for your fast metabolism. The third big mistake is the over restricting of calories. This is something I've coached a lot of women through because they're like, hey, Arin, I'm not hungry. Hey, Arin, I have food aversions. Hey, Arin, nothing sounds good. It's dinner time. I don't even care. And so that actually can be its own problem because what that's going to do is you're going to downshift your thyroid. Your energy is going to tank and you're just going to keep fighting yourself. So, okay, how do you do this? You're on a GLP-1, you're absolutely not hungry, you're having food aversions. And so we've got to work through this in understanding what things can I have. And so this is where coming up with a personal plan can be really helpful of kind of your go-tos and having just simple meals. That's one thing that I've found for a lot of my clients is just having super, super simple meals because you're really not hungry, but we do need to have the nutrients. You can also rely on protein shakes and stuff like that can be helpful in this stance as well. So the point of this is you can't reduce your calories so deep that you're not eating anything. So of course you're losing weight, but again, this is where you're going to lose more lean tissue. And just huge asterisks on this topic while we're here is when someone absolutely restricts their calories, and let's just say they're not on a GLP-1, when they restrict their calories like this, they're doing the same damage. So don't think it's because of the GLP-1. It's 100% because of just the restriction of calories. So, and you lose the same amount of lean tissue if you do a restrictive diet as well. So the fact that everybody's jumping on the GLP-1 and getting mad about it, the same thing happens when people eat too low a calories. So same deal. So, all right. So let's talk about the muscle toning game plan. So here's how you protect your body and your results. First and foremost, we do want to strength train, 3 to 4 days per week. I want you to really prioritize doing squats, doing deadlift, so hinging type of motion, doing rows, and doing presses. Then we want to think about making this progressive overload. So you want to increase the weight appropriately. So you want to challenge yourself to get your muscles to grow. So we have to get just to that edge of like, this is really challenging. Oh my gosh, can I do this? And then you think about when you're creating your workout, if it was 3 rounds of 10 reps, something that would even change it would be making 4 rounds of 10 reps. And so this is where I don't want this to get super in the weeds, but it can be really helpful to understand that it's just making tweaks. And you may do the same set of exercises, but we add a little bit of weight. We change our rep schemes. Maybe instead of 10 repetitions, now we're doing 8 repetitions, but we're increasing the resistance, meaning the weight. That is how you create progressive overload. And that's probably a term you've heard a little bit more, but that is one of the most important things. We can't just do the same workout over and over and over again. And here's the thing, if you're just starting out, body weight exercises are plenty. Then we can add in some resistance bands. So what you want to think about is what you have access to and don't feel like, oh, I can't go to a gym or I don't have access to a gym. I can't do anything. Now, am I going to say a gym is going to be helpful? For sure, as we get there. So starting with body weight first, super helpful. Add in resistance bands, add in some dumbbells. And for most women, if we had dumbbells basically from 5 to 25, you're going to be good for quite a bit, and we can really mess with the reps and sets. I have a lot of clients that prefer to work out at home, and between bands, some dumbbells, and a bench, I mean, that's really all we need. So then what we have to think about when you're doing resistance training is you have to come back and support your body with the protein, with the amino acids. That's what a protein is, and that's what's going to help you rebuild the muscle. So basically what the muscle is when we do exercise and you feel the soreness, you're doing micro trauma to the muscle fiber. When it heals, meaning you put good amino acids, meaning protein, into the body, then it's going to heal the muscle fiber. And that's how the muscle grows, gets stronger, all that good stuff. The other thing that is so huge in building muscle is sleep. And this is one of the biggest things I talk to women about. We don't sleep. And so the best thing I can tell you is just prioritize the sleep side of things, getting 7 to 9 hours. I know that's not sexy, that's not cool, but this will help. I was talking with a client earlier today, and she had a really, really, really terrible day yesterday, just had some really major stuff happen at work. It was a heck of a day. And she said, you know what? I just went to bed. And she goes, I knew I wasn't going to solve any problem that night. And so sitting around stewing, eating, which is what she would have normally have done. She said, I just told myself that nothing's going to get solved by eating this ice cream and I'm going to go straight to bed. And I was like, Eureka, we are making changes. And it was really powerful to hear her say that, because before she would have stressed, ate the pint, been mad the next day, had digestive issues because her body really doesn't do well with dairy anyways, but we do what we do, right? And so it was just so powerful to hear. Arin, I knew a night of sleep was going to be more beneficial than anything. This is where your body produces growth hormone. This is where your body recovers. If you're feeling cravings, just take notice, because not every night is it going to be a perfect night of sleep. But take notice those nights that you don't sleep well. Ask yourself how much you were craving carbs the next day. Because what happens is your hunger hormones, the ghrelin and leptin, those are things that get wonky. And so notice when you get good sleep, wow, I'm not craving sugar in the afternoon. I'm not crashing. I actually do feel good. And here's the thing. I know that sleep is not always going to be perfect for women. Too many hormonal things are going on, but prioritize it, meaning create the right environment for sleep. I know that just sounds so cliche, but the more we practice and put it into play, it will become a habit. I used to be quote unquote a night owl, and I would like, well, yep, I need those couple hours, put the kids to bed. This is mommy's time. But I fell in love with just going to sleep after putting the kids to bed because I'd rather get up earlier. I get a lot more done earlier and I'm getting way better sleep. So just kind of check what's good for you. And here's another one that I tell women all the time. Don't be perfect. This does not have to be perfect. It's really about consistency. The more wins we can stack, but again, not perfect. So we want to think about smart training and nutrition support that really helps the entire hormonal ecosystem, because everything is working so together. And this is where this can get very complex, but strength training is going to boost estrogen metabolism and bone health. It regulates your cortisol, so reducing your stress-driven like fat storages. So if you feel like it's like going straight on your stomach, a lot of times this is cortisol. I mean, just as a society, we're just so stressed out all the time, and it's trying to figure out ways. And again, strength training can really help with that, because not only from a mood standpoint, but it's also going to help improve that insulin sensitivity. That's the other really cool thing that we're seeing with the GLP-1s is how much it is helping women who are insulin resistant, or women who just their insulin just is not functioning. And now it can with the use of this drug, specifically the second and third class that we've seen come out here. So insulin sensitivity is important because this is how you burn fat instead of storing it. So, how I want you to think about your nutrition is I want you to pair protein with a fiber. This is going to help stabilize blood sugar. So, pairing protein then with like veggies, those are going to be things that are really good to put together. Also, this is a big one, and this is something that some women do okay with this, but a lot of women don't, is don't train fasted. So I hear all the stories, all the things all day long. I have women who will self-profess that keto is the only way that they can lose weight. A ketogenic diet for most women is the worst diet they could possibly do, and it's because of our hormones. Again, not for everyone, but for most women, they do not do well with a ketogenic diet. And the other diet that diet craze that people do is the fasting. And I'm talking more the extreme fasting, like multiple days. And now someone on here may profess that, Arin, it's the best thing I do. I do it for multiple days. Maybe you do it for religious, and that's fine. But this is something that I'm here to tell you, it doesn't support women's hormones. And so just don't work out fasted, put a little something. Like I personally will just do one of those like yogurt cups. So yeah, it has a little bit of sugar in it, but then I have that before I go and work out because you're going to have the protein and then you're going to have a little bit of sugar. You could take a shake in and have a piece of fruit or some fruit in the shake, but just have a little something, and you've got to train your body to do that. So again, this will depend on what time of day you work out. And then avoid long-term under eating. This is just, it will backfire. And again, with the GLP-1, this is something that, it kind of has shifted some of my talk tracks with women is, hey, you actually got to eat more. Because again, you have these aversions to food or you're not craving food, which is wonderful. But now we have the other side of this because we just want your body to work together, not against. And so I wanted to share with you guys a really quick story of a client that I was working with, and she actually came to me after using a GLP-1 and specifically semaglutide. She had only lost like 16 pounds on it, and then she put it all back on. And she was all embarrassed to tell me. And I was like, hey, listen, it's all good. Like, I'm here to serve. Like what's going on? And she was like, I just want to do it. And I want to do it for life. And so I worked with her on really understanding her nutrition, really how to move her body, what was appropriate for her. And honestly, she just needed to walk to get started. But then we got her into resistance training. And this was the timeline from December to then September. She lost 30 pounds. So she went from 191 to 160 in that time frame. Couple things that I want to note on that. Number one, that's what she wanted to lose. She wanted to lose 30 pounds. Number two, that's a little bit less than a pound a week if you were to count that out. This is a huge conversation that I've had with women, especially on the GLP-1. I've had women tell me all the time, oh, I've only lost this. And I'm like, dude, you've lost. This is awesome. So watch the language. But then the other one is, well, I'm only losing like a pound a week. That is phenomenal. That is what we want. So again, I don't know where we had expectations around. Maybe we heard a loved one or a friend lost more. Losing 1 to 2 pounds per week on a GLP-1 is perfect. And I just want to put that out there because this is how you do it. And you will do it for life. If we do things too drastic, it's really, really hard on your body. It's hard on hormones, and it's typically not sustainable. But I want to share with you the real story behind this client. So this client went on to lose 30 pounds. She no longer needed me. She was able to keep this weight off and knew what to do. And I felt really confident when she was done with her program. She came back to me a few months and just sent me this really long text message. And I wanted to share that with you guys because what she shared with me was, hey, Arin, you helped me lose the weight, but you helped me lose so much more. And this story is a tough story because I'm like, oh man, I hate that I'm a part of this, but I'm glad I am. But she goes, I finally had the confidence after all these years of being unhappy in my marriage that I finally
Mhm.
feel confident and strong enough to leave my husband. And I was like, oh man, like I guess congrats. But it was one of those things where the story behind the story, she had been unhappy in her marriage forever. She knew that it wasn't going anywhere. They had tried the counseling on 4 separate occasions. And I actually had known this client for a good 10 years. And so I knew that this just wasn't the best relationship and it's not what she deserved. The cool thing that ended up happening out of all of this is she actually moved from Indiana to Florida and she had wanted to do that. And she said, Arin, if I hadn't worked with you and gotten my confidence in check, got my weight in check, and just felt good in my own skin, she goes, I just don't think I would have had the confidence to do that. And I share that because this is more than just weight loss. Okay. There's so much more to our lives, what we want. Now, I don't want everybody going out and all getting divorces. That was not the point of the story. But the point of the story is I want you to feel good in your own skin. I want you to feel confident to do anything. And so the thing is the GLP-1 is a tool. Okay. It is not the solution. It is just your tool to help you. And I'm so thankful that we live in a day and age that this tool is accessible and we can use it. Muscle is going to be your greatest asset in this entire game for metabolism, for hormones, and for you to see long-term results. So lifting, eating enough, managing stress, these are all the non-negotiables. Your identity, that's the foundation. We have to start seeing ourselves as fit. And so I even had to do this for myself. So when I had put on some weight on my body, super stressed out time of our life, babies were super young. We had built a custom house, had to sell it back to the builder, ran a business, and it was just one of the most frustrating times of our life. I threw on like 26 pounds on my body. I was working out harder than I'd ever worked out, but I was eating and drinking all the things. So I was not perfect. But I remember in that time that I had to start calling myself Fit Arin. And I had to start asking, what would Fit Arin do? Would Fit Arin go get her steps in? Would Fit Arin eat this or that? Would Fit Arin get this workout in? Would Fit Arin not get this workout in because I was doing way too much thinking I was still 20 something when, pushing when we were over 40, we can't be doing those things anymore, right? So I share all that because there's an identity inside of you. You're using a GLP-1 or considering it, or maybe you just want to lose weight. The biggest thing that you can do out of all of this is visualize that new woman. What does she look like? How does she feel? How does she walk? How does she talk? How does she dress? You have to start seeing yourself as this woman. You don't have to 100% believe it, but you can borrow my belief because she's coming with the right actions done enough. So we're not just going to lose the weight. Okay. We're going to build a body that we're proud to be in, that we love to be in, that puts herself out there, that goes for the job promotions, that gets the man of her dreams, that has an amazing relationship with her husband. It's all possible. Okay. So if you're ready to shift everything and you're ready to shift your identity and you want to take the next steps, I did open up some space on my calendar where you and I can just have a private call. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link here in the chat and you guys can grab that link and then just take a look, see if that fits on your schedule if you wanted to talk more. And then what I want to do is I want to open this up for Q&A. Let me drop this really quick. And I do. Do you have experience? Ooh, great question. So, do you have experience with microdosing GLP-1s? Yes. And so, what we have found is that the microdosing for a lot of women, and I'm going to put a huge asterisk, that the microdosing tends to be a really good strategy. Okay, now, huge asterisks, not everyone. Some people have a more insulin sensitivity. And so for someone like that, that is not going to be the right strategy. But for the woman that's wanting to lose like 20, 30 pounds, it can be a better solution. And so what we're finding is when you're staying on a lower dose, your weight loss will be slower. And like we're talking half pound per week. And so that doesn't fire anybody up. So then we think, oh, it isn't working. I need to increase my dose. And so what we're finding too is if we increase dosing too much, then we start losing hair, we start having mood issues, we start, and I can't say that's for everyone, but if you're increasing doses and you were feeling fine, and then all of a sudden you increase to another dose and you actually don't feel fine, it's too much. And so that's where with your provider, you do want to work with them to find the right dosing for you. But we have actually found that keeping people on lower doses longer, and it just takes longer to lose the weight, but we're seeing less side effects. We're seeing that people just respond better. But we fall into that trap of like, I want to lose it now, lose it fast. And that's just a dangerous spot to be in. Let me know if that answers the question. Another thing that women ask me is like, well, how long do I need to be on this? Again, I am not a doctor, but I obviously work very closely with the doctor, and I learn a lot of this from how they personally like to do it. And the recommendation that the doctor that I work with, she said that she prefers her patients to be on the GLP-1 for the time that they need to lose the weight. And then whatever it took, if it took you 3 months, if it took you 6 months, then what they do is they keep you on the GLP-1 for another 6 months. Let's just say if that's what it took to lose the weight. That way we know we maintain, and then we start working you off of it. So you would go to like every other week. Then you would go to every 3 weeks. Then you would go to once a month. Some people are going to be recommended to stay on it once a month. But again, that's going to be very dependent upon insulin sensitivity, all that good stuff. Do you cycle? Can you share with me what you mean, like as far as cycling?
Yeah, you kind of answered the question again, because I'm not looking to lose, a massive amount of weight. I'm trying to get rid of the fluff, I will just call it, from menopause. I was a gymnast, did CrossFit, and all of a sudden hit 50 and my body said, nope. And so that's what I'm struggling with, is maybe an extra, 15 to 20 pounds that just won't go away. And I don't have the same muscle tone I used to have, which is frustrating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I would highly, are you currently lifting multiple times per week, or what's your workouts look like now?
Yeah, 3 to 5 times a week. Although the 24th of June, I'm going to be going to have shoulder surgery because I guess I've done too much. So, but I've been doing that, consistently probably for the last year or so. And no movement at all. And I know it's not just a scale, it's measurements and all that, but, I eat clean. I, don't indulge in anything that is, alcohol or even, sugary drinks, so I know I've dialed in my nutrition. I've worked with a nutritionist. I'm, always looking for more tips on how to get protein. But, it's just frustrating because I feel like I'm missing just something that's going to help kickstart me and give me that muscle tone I used to have.
Yeah, what I would tell you, Colleen, is you're probably doing a lot of things well. It is going to be just tweaks at this stage of the game. Obviously, you got to get through the shoulder surgery, and once you can get through that and get through physical therapy, all that good stuff. But don't stop lifting your legs and your other arm. That's one thing that I see a lot of people do when they have. Now, obviously, if you're going to be in a sling for a second, depending, what all needs repaired. but you still want to work the rest of your body, and you want to do things bilateral, meaning you'll do like a row with just one arm, doing a curl, doing a tricep extension. It's going to look just a little bit different, and you're going to have to use your core a lot to stabilize, but that's going to help you recover really well. But from a cycling standpoint, what do you currently have to lose right now? How much weight do you estimate?
To feel comfortable again, I'd like to be down probably another 20 pounds. I'd be happy with 15.
Okay, I gotcha. So, I mean, right now, I would tell you, and especially through shoulder surgery, which they may ask you to go off of it through that time. I'm not sure the specifics on that, but let's just say you can keep on it. What you want to do is, I would focus on, because how long do you have till your shoulder surgery?
14 days.
Oh, 14 days. Okay, all right. Are you did they say to go off of it during that time?
I'm not on it. I'm not on it at all.
Okay,
No, I've never been on it, but
so you're just curious.
That's what I'm looking to. Yeah.
Yep. So I personally, if you're curious about it and you meet with your doctor and just say, hey, here's where I'm at. If they deem it appropriate, then it is something that you can cycle it. And so what I would do is I would tell you, you probably want to take a good 4 months. That's what I would tell you, is about 4 to 5 months to get the 20 pounds off. And you just want to stay low, stay on a low cycle. You don't have a ton of weight you want to lose, but I would just keep it low. Again, this is per your doctor and what your doctor prescribes. But it's going to be something where you are going to see that stubborn stuff move that hasn't been moving. But then I would also really want to take a look at your current programming and also your programming post shoulder surgery, how to really get you back. But then, okay, we've been a gymnast, we've done this stuff, we've been in really, really amazing shape, but what do you need to do now, right? That's what I would tell you to focus on next.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question. So I'm going to go down here and feel free to keep dropping these in. So question was, can you give any tips on how to figure out the optimal weight to lift as you get started? Love this question. So I get asked this question a lot. Arin, what weight should I use? And so here's how I can describe it best to you is, let's just say you're doing 10 repetitions of a squat. Let's just call it a squat pattern. And let's say you were going to hold a dumbbell, call it a goblet squat, maybe holding it here. What you want to do is you want to be able to do 10 repetitions, but by the time you get to the eighth, it starts getting challenging. And when you get to the ninth one, it's okay, I'm struggling. And then we get to the 10th one and we sneak it out. Now that's round one. So round one, we're getting all of our reps in. We have perfect range of motion. Everything looks good. Now let's say we're doing a second set. I want it to be getting challenging again at rep 8. We're squeaking out 9. 10 is getting a little bit questionable. That's the best way I can describe it to you, because every woman's going to be different. For some women, they're going to need to start with 10. They're going to need 15. They're going to need 20. It really depends on your condition right now, your proficiency in the movement. Sometimes body weight, believe it or not, is plenty. And sometimes body weight is too much, and we need to really use like machines and things like that at the gym. But the best thing I can tell you, like, let's think about a bicep curl. And so let's say we're curling, and what I want you to do is to put let's put tens in each hand, for example. And if this is your first rodeo, you may be like, yo, Arin, 10 is way too hard. And so that's okay. Go down to the 5s, or if they have it 7.5. But what you want to think about is, if you're able to do 10 repetitions and it's easy peasy, you could do 11, you could do 12, it's too light. That's where Coach Arin would be like, yep, up that weight. But hopefully that helps. All right. We had someone that agreed with Colleen. Cool. I've been on Mounjaro for 4 months and I'm gaining weight. What am I doing wrong? Ooh, that's such a good question. Do you mind coming on and I can ask you a few questions? Because you are not alone in feeling that.
Yes, sure. I am driving, so I don't want to put on the camera, but
You're good.
yes.
Are you okay to talk?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've been on Monjaro for 4 months now. You're gaining weight. Tell me a little bit more. How much weight do you have to lose? What's your like? Well, first off, how much weight do you have to lose?
I'd like to lose 40 pounds.
Okay, and
And
then
I'm sorry. I've probably gained, it's not been a lot, but I'm not looking to gain. I am
no.
perimenopause as well, so I'm sure that that's wreaking havoc on it. I'd say I've gained maybe like fluctuating between like 4 to 6 pounds.
Okay, so you're fluctuating 4 to 6 pounds. Now tell me how many steps do you step in a day? Do you know?
I do have a fitness tracker, an iWatch. So on average, I'm probably below 10,000. I'd say on average, somewhere between 7,500 to 10,000 in that range, maybe.
Okay. And then are you currently doing any workouts?
I have started adding in some light resistance training. I have also been recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia, so I have to take it really easy
Yep.
as far as that's concerned. But I have started trying to do some because I'm keep hearing how
Yep.
important the resistance training is.
Yeah, no, 100%, but you want to work with your body, not fight your body.
Right.
Do you do anything with heat? Do you have any, can you get in a hot bath or do you do any sauna work?
Occasionally, I will do a sauna, but I don't do it regularly. And occasionally, same thing. I try to take as hot a shower as I can stand, but sometimes I will take a bath with like some Epsom salt or,
Yep. Yeah.
to try to help as well.
Yeah, because that's what I'm going to tell you. So with fibromyalgia, that's one where you're doing the right thing by adding in the resistance training. And I like that you're starting with the bands because the last thing we want to do is inflame you. So
Right.
what some people will do is they'll go to like these Orange Theories, F45s, all these crazy group fitness classes, and it's just too much volume, it's too much impact. And so that I'm going to steer you 100% clear, and actually everybody on this call clear from doing those types of workouts for women 40 plus. That it does not help us. But so back to your question, like, okay, I'm doing all these things. The next question I would ask you is how much have you adjusted your food?
So I'm not noticing that I have too much of an appetite suppressant. I have cut out, there is a little bit, but not like where people say, oh my gosh, I just eat like a kid's portion. I haven't noticed that. I feel like
Okay.
I do eat more, but what I'm eating has cut out. I had a wicked sweet tooth and I no longer really have that.
Mhm.
I have increased a lot of protein. But sometimes I am noticing, I guess it's called the food noise, or I feel like I'm still eating all the time. But it
Yeah.
is healthy things that I'm eating. I'm not doing the junk foods.
Mhm.
The sugar cravings have cut drastically, but I'm not sure there's still something going on there.
Yeah. What dose are you on?
I'm on the 5 milligrams now.
Okay. And did you just change that?
About 2 weeks ago.
And you haven't noticed any difference?
Not so far.
Okay. So what I would tell you is number one, I would hit 10,000 steps every single day as long as you're feeling good and the fibromyalgia hasn't flared or anything. I would tell
Okay.
you to hit that. I know 2,000 steps doesn't seem like a big deal, but it actually is a big deal. 10,000 steps is game changing for most women in weight loss with or without the GLP-1.
Okay.
Then you're doing the right thing with the resistance training. I want you to start slow on that. And then it will need to progress. And believe it or not, it is going to be helpful to the fibromyalgia. It's just you're kind of playing with that right now. We don't want to flare that. But
Right.
what I'm going to tell you is you really do need to focus in on your nutrition. I would tell you to weigh, measure, track everything that goes in you. And you said that you're wearing a watch that tells you your,
Yes. Yes, I do.
what kind of watch is it?
I have a iWatch,
Okay.
iPhone watch.
Okay, Perfect. So what you want to do is you want to watch how many calories you're burning in a day. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are creating minimum a 500 calorie deficit from how much you're moving to how much you're consuming. How tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
5'3". Okay. And then if you don't mind saying, what is your current weight?
I will say it.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Right now, my last one was 213.
213. Okay. So I'm going to tell you that these are going to be tough calories, but I would just hang with it, see if it works for a week or two, adjust it if you are getting headaches, hangry, but I would tell you to pull your calories to about 1500.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
if you get a headache, you feel hangry, you're going to eat somebody's arm, you need to move them up.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank you so much.
yeah, you're no problem. And focus on that protein, of course. But the thing is I guarantee it's working. It's just we haven't created enough of the caloric deficit, and your body's trying to figure it out right now. You've increased your dose, so in theory, you should be seeing this. You're on tirzepatide, which is the classification of drug, and this is the one that is the dual agonist, and it's the one that we're seeing the most like insulin, like it helps with the insulin and then the fat oxidation. So you're on one that I personally feel like most people are seeing good success. I think we just need to adjust your calories. I really do.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Really great question. And thank you for sharing all that because I know that's helpful for others.
Sure.
Awesome. Let's see here. So we've got what is a good protein shake that you recommend? Oh goodness, it's the flavor of the week. So there are a million different protein powders out there. I personally recommend whey protein. I personally do not do well with pea protein, but there's a lot of women that do well with it. Protein. Personally, right now, the one that I'm enjoying, and this is hopefully you guys will laugh at this. So I am a red velvet cake junkie. Like I love a good cake, like nobody's business, specifically red velvet. And First Form actually has a red velvet uh, uh, protein powder that I just hands down love. So the brand is called First Form. They're actually out of St. Louis. They actually source all of their products in the US, which was something that I actually really enjoy. And right now I really enjoy their products because they are 5 ingredients or less. And protein powder, believe it or not, it is processed. And so that is something that you do want to know what all is in protein powder. I've taken another protein powder called Eniva. It's a little bit on the more spendy side of protein, but it literally only has 4 ingredients. And that actually does matter because if you're feeling gassy, bloated, constipated from protein powders, it's because of all the crap in it. And supplements are just unregulated. You want to make sure that supplements have third-party testing. And so those are 2 that I've really vetted out that I really enjoy. There are a lot of other protein powders that people like. You got to be able to palate it. If you don't like it, like it's just, you can't choke it down. So hopefully that is helpful. What do you recommend as far as any apps to keep track of everything as far as protein intake and food journaling? The most widely used one is MyFitnessPal. We have an app that has tracking in it. It's just its own tracking system, but MyFitnessPal is the one that most people use and like. There's a bunch of other ones that you can do. There's one called LifeSum. There's one. I mean, honestly, it's whatever one that you can do. But here's my huge asterisk with tracking is you have to weigh and measure your food. If you're just going into MyFitnessPal and just kind of sort of picking something, everybody tells me they're eating 1,200 calories and they don't know why they're not losing weight. And it's like, first off, that's super low on calories. But second, if we're not weighing and measuring everything, and I know that's the most uncool answer on the earth, but that's the only way that tracking can really work is if we're being completely honest about this was X amount of grams. And so the challenge is if you're dining out to eat, you're at someone else's house, it can get challenging with that. So hopefully that's helpful. Struggling on breakfast protein besides eggs. Yeah, no. So breakfast protein. So here's my huge stance on breakfast is you don't have to have eggs, right? Like you can have whatever you want. You could have a chicken breast for breakfast. Like doesn't really matter what you have, but different ideas are like proteins, having different protein powder and making a shake. Other things are like the Greek yogurts are really, really good ideas. I personally prefer the Faye full fat, like no, not the non-fat. And then I just put fresh strawberries, blueberries, and just a little drizzle of agave or honey can help take the tart off. Let's see here. Do you personally recommend a GLP-1? There seems so many out there. That's a super, super good question. Okay. So the semaglutide is the one, your Ozempics, and a lot of people are using. We've actually seen some people just not respond well to semaglutide. But I don't want to say that to say, oh, it's not working if we haven't really looked at how much am I moving my body? How much am I consuming? Am I weighing and tracking all my food? So I don't want to sit here and like give a, hey, semaglutide doesn't work, because it absolutely does. We've had a ton of people do really well. We did see, however, when folks started going on the tirzepatide, so that's going to be your Mounjaro, your Zepbound, we actually do see, and that's because it's a dual agonist. So what the the Ozempic doesn't have is the dual agonist, it's just the single. And so what this is doing is it's not only working with insulin sensitivity, but you're actually getting fat oxidation. And so then now we have the third classification of drugs called retatrutide, or if I messed that up, my bad, but that's the third one. I don't believe it's approved, although I've heard people on it. And that one is a triple agonist, and it's going to have the GIP, it's glucagon. It's going to have glucagon in it, which that's a whole nother piece. So I really think you need to go with what your doctor recommends and what they're seeing success with. But for the most part, we're only seeing tirzepatide being prescribed at this point. Which GLP-1 do you recommend? Okay, cool. So that should cover it. And love first form. Cool. Yeah, no, that's a good one. Awesome. Well, hopefully this has been helpful. I'll give some last calls, or if you want to just open up and share, like, was this helpful? Did you take stuff away from it? Is there anything that I missed that you wish was on here? Cool. Let's give some last calls. So Barb, would love to hear, was this helpful?
It was absolutely helpful.
Cool. Good. Any big takeaways?
Just learning and continuing to gather information is always a good thing.
For sure. Cool. Awesome. Julie, we'll throw it to you. Takeaways or last thoughts?
I thought it was good. A lot of information, things to think about. I'm not on one now, but just to consider it and just look more into it. So yeah, no, I think it's really helpful just to hear positive things about it.
I know. There's been such a stigma, and I mean, even myself, I at first, because I just didn't want it to be a quick fix type of thing.
Right.
And it was like, once I really researched and understood it, and it just, I was like, wow, there's literally nothing like this out there. Like, we have not, and so I kind of looked at it like, okay, if everybody's bashing it, which first off, why? Like, for me, it was just, I didn't want another quick fix, and I didn't want women to go down another, rabbit hole. But I think the more we understand, and the funny thing is this stuff has been around for 20 some years. Like the original, like GLP-1 stuff has been around for a very, very long time, which I'm sure you probably know a little bit more than I probably do on this stuff. But it's just fascinating what it's actually doing in the body. So I appreciate, just gathering more information, and happy to share.
And I just heard a podcast with Mel Robbins covering it too. I just listened to that not too long ago. And then you brought this up, and, it's, you think of these things and you think, gosh, I'm cheating, I'm
Fair.
not doing it on my own. I'm not, I'm weak or whatever. So, it's a mindset.
Yeah, and honestly, I would tell you far from it. I look at it as this is a tool, and it's a tool that we can use, and it's actually just fascinating what it does in the body. It's truly been life-changing for so many people. And again, it wasn't until I educated myself more on this that I'm not going to say, hey, it comes with no risk, no anything. And again, it has to be prescribed by a doctor. I can't tell you how many women are like, where do you get your GLP-1s? And I'm like, okay. Like, we're not doing that. But what has been important to me is just understanding, okay, how does it actually work? How can we work with it? But then the other big thing is and if you've noticed, I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't tell you to do if you weren't on the GLP-1, if that makes sense.
Yes. But thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just some final thoughts. Was this helpful? Colleen, love some last thoughts.
No, I just appreciate you answering our questions, and really appreciated the idea of, I guess I really never thought of working out my left arm while my right one was incapacitated. So I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So,
well, especially being an athlete, I mean, it's just kind of part of who you are, and this is kind of a bummer, and a shoulder surgery is a big deal. I mean, obviously, this, but we've worked through so many clients through shoulder surgeries, and it's just one of those things where you think like, oh, I can't do anything. And especially for an athlete at heart, that's just like such a hard thing to say. So,
yeah, it is. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. You're like, dang it. All right, ladies. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys hanging in till the end. And again, I'm glad this was helpful. Hit me up, book a call, ask me any questions, especially if you're just now researching, should I do this? Should I not do this? I am happy to help navigate a very constructive, what's right for you conversation. Again, everyone is just a little bit different on this, but we have seen this just really be life-changing for a lot of women. Again, you still got to get the relationship with food. You still got to do all the things. So it's not a free pass. It is a tool. So anyways, all right, ladies, well, have an awesome night, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.